Certain acupuncture points have been prized through history for the specific effects they have on certain conditions. There are famous doctors, for example, one named Ma Danyang, who had these heavenly star points. And these were sort of his quintessential points used most commonly for certain kinds of conditions. They've been now remembered for hundreds to thousands of years because this one physician said, these points are incredible. But a lot of these acupuncture points can be used for acupressure as well. And in particular, there are 3 that I would recommend on a day-to-day basis because they're very, very effective acutely for scenarios that otherwise many acupuncture points done via acupressure won't necessarily have a strong effect. So in this video, let's talk about 3 acupressure points that have a significant effect on 3 specific kinds of conditions that I see every single day. Hey guys, I'm Dr. Alex Heyne, board licensed doctor of acupuncture and traditional Chinese medicine, and author of the health book, Master the Day. So let's jump in. Now, the very first acupuncture or acupressure point that I recommend is a point called Ren 6, which is called Qi Hai, or Sea of Qi. Now, this point is typically something I recommend for bloating. So you can use this point whether you've eaten too much after a meal, whether it's just the collective accumulation of overeating over days, where now you're noticing a lot of GI fullness, discomfort, or even gas pain. This point is something that is very, very effective for moving that gas pain around the intestines. I've also seen some women occasionally use it for menstrual pain, although for menstrual pain, I'd say you're better off just using a warming or a heating pad. So for this point, Qi Hai, what we do here is basically put maybe about 3 or 4 fingers width below your belly button. The exact location doesn't have to be very precise for this, but what you do here is take 2 fingers, they're called like sword fingers, or you could make little beaks with your hands, and you're basically just rhythmically tapping, a few inches below your belly button. For a lot of people, the bloating underneath the belly button is gas production related or just constipation. So by actually rhythmically tapping here, you are actually, on a physical level, you're manually stimulating the peristalsis of the intestines. What I recommend is just basically tapping here rhythmically, tap, 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 and just doing that for 5 minutes. Generally, people will say you'll hear almost like a gurgling sort of sound. And after that, you'll often feel much, much better. One of those things that you wouldn't think works, but actually is really, really effective. Now, the second point is called Ren 17 or Shanzhong. This is for anxiety and just general unease. So in particular for anxiety, this point is in the center of the chest. You locate it basically between the nipple line, level on a horizontal level with nipples, the center of the chest in the sternum area there. This point is used for lots of different issues, but for this case, for acupressure, we're going to be stimulating it by putting palm over palm and rubbing rhythmically over the chest itself. Basically a frequency or cadence of 1, 1000, 2, 1000, 3, 1000, 4, 1000. You can rub rhythmically, 5 minutes to the right, and then 5 minutes counterclockwise. Very, very effective for calming that somatic sensation of anxiety or restlessness that you often have when you're feeling anxious or a little bit too revved up during the day. So this point, Shanzhong, literally just means center of the chest. Look, a lot of people coming in with anxiety, they will often say that, I feel tightness in the chest. So this is a very self-soothing kind of sensation that you can do. Now, so far we've talked about points for bloating, points for anxiety. There are dozens and hundreds of other conditions, obviously. And if you're wondering and curious where those conditions are coming from, what organ, what physiological pathway, what root cause, I've taken the time to put together a brand new free root cause quiz. It's the first link below this video. You can also go to dralexheyne.com/quiz. And this quiz goes through probably 100 common symptoms, what organ network they're associated with from traditional Chinese medicine. And then we've taken a lot of time to actually put together some links to other videos that I've shot on specific conditions, whether it's heart palpitations or food allergies or anxiety. So download the quiz, take it. It's really helpful to figure out where symptoms are coming from. And from there, at that point, you can look at the other videos that will help you really get into targeted information to heal. Now let's jump into point number 3. Point number 3 is called Kidney 1, Yongquan, right? Bubbling spring. Now, Yongquan often is a point used for insomnia and any sensation of upward surging. Anxiety can be one of them as well. In the context of our modern day world, where everyone appears to have insomnia, everyone appears to have anxiety, this is one of the most commonly used points for acupressure itself. Needling, it's not very comfortable, but this point is very soothing. And I think for most people, if they get a foot massage, the part of their foot where it feels the best is this actual acupuncture point. So let's look at Kidney 1, Yongquan, and we'll talk about how to stimulate it. Now for this point, Yongquan, basically the way you find it is you could think of it as being in the top 1/3 of your foot, just behind the balls of the feet. So if you slide your thumb up the middle of the foot, behind the balls of the feet, that real first bump you feel, and this little tender spot often is a very soothing sensation to massage it rhythmically. So this point is called bubbling spring. And in traditional Chinese medicine, this is sort of where the kidney channel comes out of the body and appears basically on the foot. This is the origination point, where it basically bubbles up out of the foot, and basically the channel is more of an external channel that we can stimulate with acupressure or acupuncture. The way that I'd recommend stimulating this point is just basically rhythmically massaging it, again to like a 1-1000, 2-1000, 3-1000 sort of tempo. And by rubbing it with this sort of tempo, it's supposed to function as like a kind of grounding rod. So even in China, to this day, there's a kind of folk practice of using these hot foot baths to fall asleep. It's basically said it brings the qi down to your feet. And when people can't sleep, there's too much qi in the head. So basically, stimulating this point through a rhythmic, maybe 5 to 10 minutes on each side, it is really effective for people who have anxiety or lots of restlessness surrounding sleep and lots of insomnia. So it can be one of those things that really makes a big difference in how you feel. And it's just very soothing in general for the nervous system. So those are 3 really effective acupuncture points that you can do acupressure on. We've talked about bloating, we've talked about anxiety, and we've talked about insomnia. Again, there are more points that you can utilize. We have a lot of related videos on this topic as well. But again, don't forget, if you want to work with me privately one-on-one in my clinic in Los Angeles or virtually via telemedicine, I work with a limited number of new patients every single month. And you can go to dralexheyne.com/clinic to learn more, or there's information, the phone number for the clinic, the email in the description of this video down below. And then don't forget, you guys, I have another related video on acupressure techniques you can do at home right up here.